are the human factor. And it's a strategic way of understanding the system, because if you don't have all four components of that theory working together, not independently, then you don't get quality. And if we look at this from a different viewpoint, we come back to the three ways. We say, okay, here's what the customer wants. Here's what we're promising. Here's what they get. And in here, we're doing expectation setting. We make a choice. What are we going to promise to the customer based on what they need? If we don't get it right, we have the design gap. Here we say a promise, and here's what we deliver. If we don't get that right, we have the conformity gap. And when we take a look at that, we see this is quality in what's delivered. It's about the choices we make, human choices. Here is quality in how it was delivered, and that's actually doing the work. And so quality methods aid this journey as we go from conceptualizing what the customer wants to actually delivering the experience the customer gets. So we have to get the right idea, and then we have to implement it in the right way. So I take a look at this model and I say, okay, well, how does this actually work? Well, here's the quality laws. We didn't design it right, and we didn't perform it right. There's the laws of the society, because the customer, society wanted this, and we delivered this. So how do we actually make it work? Well, the beginning starts with creative ideas, because it begins with people. What is the right way to do quality in Pakistan? It's not the same way as Finland. It's not the same way as America. Maybe closer to South America or India. So as we start looking at it, we have different objectives, different things we want to accomplish, and we have to understand the context of how that really works. And when we get there, we want to design reliability into our concept. As an engineer, I can talk about reliability in terms of products. I can talk about reliability of things lasting a long time. But how about a reliable society? How about a reliable government? How about a reliable social system that delivers to the people what the people need? We need reliable organizations as a lesson from Bill Crosby. And then we deliver quality by management. Because here we decided on making a promise, and I managed to deliver that. Now we're learning from Dr. Duran, who talks about managing for quality after we've made the choices. And finally, at the end, we have implementation. And here we have very strong components from Japan in terms of how we do the deployment of policy into reality in Hoshinkanri and the work of Ishikawa. And so the quality journey, step by step, is what we have to perform. And when we perform that, then we get excellence. Because excellence is the destination, or a destination, on the quality journey. I've had people say that we don't want to do quality anymore, we're going to do excellence. And it's a mistake. Because the two are hand in hand as we take a look at this model. As a matter of fact, when I look at this and I go coach organizations, I say, here's ISO 9000. It's the minimum result of what you have to have. If you're a baby and you're first learning how to walk, you don't learn how to sprint the world record 100 meters. Okay? And so we're walking and understanding what is the system. We set our eyes on excellence by using something like the Aldrich Award, or the Pakistan Premier's Quality Award. And we say, there's excellence, there's the 1,000-point scale. Has anybody ever gotten there? No. The highest score ever given to an organization is about 860 points. Nobody's ever gotten there, so that's a measure of a journey. And as we look, we see how do we go on the journey. We have to do that one project at a time, whether they're Six Sigma projects or continuous improvement or Kaizen, those are just methods we choose. But one project at a time, and we have to do self-assessment. We have to look at ourselves. The Greek Delphi said the unexamined life is not worth living. And we have to benchmark. Looking at ourselves is just looking at me in the mirror. That doesn't give me an external standard of performance. And that's why benchmarking is an important way to take a look at how we augment this. And when we look at this, we have to see that quality is really about being socially responsible. Quality outcomes generate economic values, or should, for society and for the people in society. So what is this freedom? It's a form of, if you will, equality. I look back at the roots, American Declaration of Independence, we were talking about equality or equality, and I think about that today. We have a hyphen in between there, and that's electronic quality, right? That shows like e-books. Okay. And so what I see is, if we want to get beyond microeconomics, the economics of what happens in an organization, that says we have to put quality into social systems. That it's an obligation of social responsibility. How do we as citizens of our nation help our nation to become better? It's not by arguing like the stupid Republicans and Democrats do and acting like 5-year-old children fighting over a toy. Our nations are so important they can't be treated like the toys that we have in the schoolyard. And yet country after country, that's the effect in the way we deal with things. Thank you, that means I have 2 minutes. Oh, thank God. I might get there. Okay, so we see we have quality for prosperity. Wait a minute. That's in the ICQI. Prosperity for all. That was the intent of Taylor when he started, but he missed it because he tried to inspect quality in instead of getting quality in, because we understood what people needed and how people can deliver it. And so as we're looking at this, we start saying we have to have quality thinking and doing. So it's a cultural way of being. And so when we want to achieve that, we see that prosperity must become the objective for all mankind in achieving quality. And this is a challenge we see because Ilya was right. Mankind's salvation does come through quality. And we see that quality is inside people. And so we turn to this thing and say, doing quality is not enough. Actually doing the process, using the tools. I'm great at problem solving. I'm great at Six Sigma. That's not enough. Being quality is what's important. Am I the role model to the organization? Dr. Duran's last speech, he talked about the great unfinished work. And I didn't really understand it when I heard that in 1997, this 90-year-old man. And now as I find it harder to move, harder to get around the world, I understand it. The obligation is not for me to make a contribution, but it's to excite you to make a contribution here where you are in each day. So it's not just about the things we do, the tools we have, but as Aristotle said, excellence is a habit. And we have to develop it in ourselves through discipline reinforced by continuous learning. And we need to learn from life's experiences and how do we do it better. The essence of quality is democracy. It's cooperation between people to achieve mutual prosperity within a common purpose. If we go back, some of the greatest thinkers of the last 100 years, Peter Drucker was one. And if you take a look, he was influenced by a man that not too many people know, Chester Bernard. Chester Bernard was Walter Schuhart's boss at AT&T Bell Lab Statistics section. Oh, he later became the president of Bell. He later became the head of the Science Technology Council of America, the American Red Cross, and a number of other organizations. And he said the purpose of an organization, the purpose, is to collaborate on your aim or your task. We have to work together. And the way we do that is by communication. And it's not formal communication, it's the informal communication at the level where people work. And so the challenge is not just having an organization chart and understanding how it's processed, but it's about working with people. I did a study in Hewlett-Packard, and I don't have time to tell you a whole lot about that. But we took a look at the best performing quality managers in the world. And we took a look, the best had all of these attributes. And the summary is they were flexible and they were moderate. Nothing extreme in their positions. But they were flexible, they listened to people, they used communication. And then we looked at the opposite. And if you take a look at these characteristics in detail, you'll see the Republicans and the Democrats in the American political circumstance. You see the children fighting each other. And we see rigidity, extremism. And what we have to find is, how do we get a middle path? How do we move so that we're accepting of the differences among ourselves as people? Because inside, we're all the same. I look back in history, and we see in the Sumerian culture, some of the oldest writing in the world, 2300 BC, we see the character for Amahi. And literally it means return to mother. But what that is the idea of freedom that the child has in the womb. The complete safety and dependency, the freedom from bad things like waste, loss, bigotry, abuse, hunger, debt, fear, defects, failure, all the negative things that can keep us away from it. And what we need to do is figure out, how do we cooperate as human beings to drive quality? And so we create quality and exceptional values. Creating is an action. Exceptional is the target. Value the results. Quality is the means. And the challenge is to increase quality through the process in social institutions so we assure superior quality of life, content,